guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to do a kind of a fun video. As you guys know, throughout 2021, I have been working my way through a certain series, and in July, I completed that series, and now I kind of want to reflect on the series as a whole and kind of rank the books, which ones I liked and which ones I didn't, and just kind of give you guys my overall thoughts. And that series is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. So as I should probably note, prior to this read through, I had only read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and it was a book that I read in 6th grade with my class. So it was a long time ago. I didn't remember a whole lot about it, and obviously the rest of the series I didn't know anything about. So it is a 7-book series that were published in, I believe, the 50s. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was published in 1950, and The Last Battle was published in 1956, so between that range there. It's basically, for those of you that don't know what The Chronicles of Narnia is about, it is about a group of siblings, Peter, Susan, Lucy, and Edmund, who stumble upon this magical land called Narnia. And Narnia is this very beautiful, heavenly sort of place. It's a very like iconic, fantastical land in literature. It's kind of up there with, you know, Wonderland and Midworld. Is that what it is in the Lord of the Rings? I don't know that one for sure. Didn't get through that series. So yes, and it's kind of about their adventures within Narnia, the various characters and villains and such that they have to meet and do battle with. And you also learn about Narnia's beginnings throughout this series and its endings. So it kind of takes you on a journey, and it's no secret that this series does have a lot of Christian symbolism, Christian undertones. C.S. Lewis was a Christian and purposefully kind of wove those things into this series. So you have, but I think that though the books are looked at, I think nowadays through a more Christian sort of lens when you are analyzing them, I think that the main themes are pretty universal. Themes about just having faith, themes about loyalty and camaraderie and doing what's right and that sort of stuff. And I think that those are themes that even if you are not Christian or religious even, they're themes that I think most people can gain something from. And I think the draw of this series for kids is its magicalness. Because you have this land that you magically kind of transport to, which is really interesting, I think. Even as an adult, I find that just very interesting, very fascinating. And then you have this land where there's, you know, there's talking animals, and there's witches, and dragons, and other sort of, you know, magical creatures, unicorns and things like that. And so it just appeals to children. And I, like I said, did not read these as a kid. And so I don't have that nostalgia, but I can see why adults that read it nowadays who have read them as children would have that nostalgia. So when I read this series, I read it in publication order, which now I guess there's sort of, the publishers and such have since, when you buy like the box set of this series, they put it in chronological order because they feel that C.S. Lewis at some point had said something about like the benefit of reading it in chronological order. I chose to read it in publication order because I just felt like I wanted it to be like how it was originally intended to be read, which I know C.S. Lewis has since gone back and said, oh, I think it's intended to be read in chronological order. I wanted to read it in publication order, okay? So it does kind of jump around in time that way, but I actually really liked that. I liked that you kind of bounced back and forth, got to know Narnia a little bit before you went back and learned about its beginnings, for example. I liked that format. I would recommend doing that way, but I mean, whichever way you prefer is fine. I just preferred to do it that way. So the order in which I read the books, publication order, is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, The Horse and His Boy, The Magician's Nephew, and The Last Battle. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get into my rankings of the books. Like I said, there are 7 books, and I'm gonna show them to you from my least favorite to my favorite and briefly kind of explain why I put them there or whatever. I should also note that none of these books, even my favorite, were 5-star reads for me. These were all, there were a couple 4s, quite a few 3s, and a 2. So knowing that, okay. So coming in at number 7, my least favorite of the series was The Horse and His Boy, which if you're reading this in publication order, would have been book 5. If you're reading it chronologically, it's book 3. This one I gave 2 stars to, I didn't like very much because I didn't really like the story very much. It didn't really take place in Narnia for the most part, and I just didn't really connect with any of the main characters other than Bree. He was the talking horse. I kind of enjoyed him, but other than that, I didn't really enjoy the story all that much. And yeah, it just didn't do anything special for me. I just didn't like it. All right, coming in at number 6, this was a 3-star read for me, was the last book in the series, The Last Battle. And this one, I didn't mind the beginning so much. It was kind of interesting. But I really did not enjoy the ending. I just felt that I thought it was sort of a bummer. And I know that people that are looking at it through the Christian lens might disagree because the ending is very much, without spoiling anything, it's very much an important part of the Christian belief system. And so I can understand why Christians reading this would love the ending. But for me, I thought it was just sort of sad. And then there was also a main character that I felt wasn't treated very nicely in this last book. The way that they handled that character, that character's end game storyline, whatever. I didn't like it at all. It made me unhappy. So yes, this was number 6. Then coming in at number 5 is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And this one, I didn't enjoy the story as much, though it did have some pretty cool, like, fantastical elements and kind of scenes that I thought were kind of fun. This was the first book, when reading it in publication order, that not all 4 of the original children are in it. So that was kind of different. And it was the story, like I said, I wasn't in love with, but one of my favorite characters, he's actually on the cover, Reapy Cheap, was in this. Let's see if it'll focus on him. There he goes. He's one of my favorite characters from the series, so I enjoyed him very much. But overall, the story wasn't like super awesome for me, so yeah. Coming in at number 4 is The Silver Chair. And this one is, if you're reading it, okay, I'm getting confused. If you're reading it in publication order, this one I believe is the 4th? Yes, the 4th book. If you're reading it chronologically, it's the 6th. But anyways, this one I actually really enjoyed this one. I liked the story because the whole concept in this one is that they're searching for a missing prince. And so kind of the journey that they go on is pretty cool. Again, some awesome magical elements in here. And I liked the characters, even though this one didn't have any of the original 4 in it. This was like a new group of kids or whatever, pair of kids, I guess. And so I thought going into it I wouldn't like it as much, but I actually did enjoy this one. It was good. Like I said, the story was cool, had some great magical elements, and it was fun. Coming in at number 3 is like kind of the prequel of the series, The Magician's Nephew. So if you're reading this one in chronological order, this would be the first book. But publication-wise, it was the 6th, I think. Yeah. So this one takes you back and shows you kind of how Narnia began, and I kind of liked learning about that. It was interesting. Again, some pretty cool magical elements in this one. Some characters that you, you saw previously are kind of in this, but in a different way. So it was kind of fun to see that. And there was also in this one, it was kind of fun because you see a little bit of sort of Narnia and these like magical sort of realms kind of clashing with our world. So it's kind of like worlds colliding. It was kind of comical. And I enjoyed that. The villain in this, I thought she was a lot of fun. So yeah, this one was a good one. Okay, number 2 is going to be the second book, if you are reading it in publication order, and that is Prince Caspian. And I really liked this one because this was kind of the return to Narnia, the way that I was reading it, publication order. And so it was just fun to kind of see how the children got back to Narnia, because that was something that I liked throughout the series. Every time I started a book, I liked to kind of see how they get to Narnia because it's different like every time. So I thought that that was always fun, and I liked the way that it happened in this one. And this story just was really good because it was about, you know, trying to set things right in Narnia, because at the time, the king who was king should not have been king, and it was about kind of giving the throne to the rightful heir and all of that. And so it was a very good, like, good versus evil sort of story. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked Prince Caspian as a character. He was a great addition to the series, and I really enjoyed it. So it's no surprise that my favorite book in the series, number 1, is the first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think that this one just, as a standalone book, it is really good. And though I didn't give it 5 stars, it was a 4-star read, I still think it's a great middle grade classic, and one that I think even in today's world, kids can enjoy. Because I think as a whole, this series has aged pretty well, other than there's a few depictions of certain ethnic groups out there that are depicted in these books in a not very nice way, that was more acceptable in the time, that today people are like, nah, that's not okay. So other than that, I think this series has aged pretty well. And this book, like I said, I think is one that I think even my kids would read when they're ready and enjoy it. It just, the whole concept of stumbling through a wardrobe into a magical land, the White Witch and having to defeat this witch, like all that stuff was just great. And this one also had great themes, just about redemption, loyalty, and all that sort of thing. So this one just, to me, takes the cake. And you could definitely just read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and be okay. I'm not saying don't read the whole series, but you could read just this one and it would be fine. So as a whole, I think that the Chronicles of Narnia was a good series. It wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be, and that could be because I'm reading it as an adult without that childhood nostalgia. It's one of those series that I'm glad I have read. I can kind of check it off my list, and now I have it for when my children are ready to read it. They're still a little young for it, but I think when they get to that point, I think they'll enjoy it. And the editions that I have are also great for kids because there are illustrations and stuff throughout, and it just makes it kind of fun. So yeah, I'm glad I read this series. I think though, as a whole, it wasn't like amazing, but I think it was good. And I think that even with all of the Christian stuff, I knew that going into the series that stuff was going to be prevalent. It was there, but it was still, you could still kind of separate it and just enjoy the stories for what they were. So yeah, I liked it overall. And I think that's it. So let me know down below if you've read the Chronicles of Narnia and what your favorite in the series is. And why not, what's your least favorite? Let's do that too. Or if you want to give me your full ranking, that would be fine as well. And also let me know if you would prefer to read it in chronological order or in publication order. Like I said, I read it in publication order, and I think that was a great way to read it. Because I didn't mind the bouncing around in time. I thought that it just kind of gave the story a little more, I don't know, it was a little more fun that way. So, but let me know. I would love to hear. And yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. So I hope you are having a wonderful week, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.